Hello and welcome to our daily news. Coming up next are the headlines.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc receives Italian Ambassador Cecilia Piccioni and Asian Development Bank Country Director Eric Sidgwick. U.S. President Barack Obama meets young Southeast Asian leaders in Ho Chi Minh City before leaving for Japan. National Assembly Standing Committee convenes the 48th session.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc hosted a reception for the Italian Ambassador Cecilia Piccioni in Hanoi on May 25th.
The Vietnamese government leader spoke highly of the contributions made by the Italian ambassador and expressed his belief that the diplomat will continue to contribute to boosting the Vietnam-Italy strategic partnership. He proposed that Italy assist Vietnam in training human resources in software development and other areas. Ambassador Cecilia Piccioni mentioned her responsibility in promoting the multifaceted cooperation between Vietnam and Italy, making it more closely and effectively. She said in recent years, Italian leaders have always affirmed that Vietnam is Italy's important partner. The Vietnam-Italy relations have developed, with frequent exchange of visits by delegations and two-way trade topping $4 billion last year. The same day, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc also met with Asian Development Bank Country Director Eric Sidgwick. He said the Vietnamese government supports the bank's overall strategy by 2030 to assist member countries in resolving poverty, coping with climate change, and promoting the private sector. He also said his government and the State Bank of Vietnam always pay heed to building and realizing the bank's country partnership strategy for Vietnam in the 2016 to 2020 period. Eric Sidgwick said in recent years, Vietnam has been praised by international communities for its efforts to maintain economic stability and overcome many challenges and difficulties. He pledged that the bank will further support Vietnam to overcome challenges, particularly those in developing infrastructure, coping with climate change, and raising competitiveness.
U.S. President Barack Obama attended an exchange with members of the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative before leaving Ho Chi Minh City for Japan on May 25th.
The event attracted the participation of 1,000 students from different universities in Ho Chi Minh City and business representatives. At the event, President Obama delivered a speech on critical topics identified by youth in the region, including civic engagement, environment and natural resources management, and entrepreneurship and economic development. He emphasized that the Fulbright University in Vietnam is expected to operate this autumn, so that Vietnamese students can get access to the international standards education. Obama also underlined the importance of developing English language training programs in the country. Launched in 2013, the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative is U.S. President Obama's signature program to strengthen leadership development and networking in Southeast Asia.
3 years ago, I launched the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, or YASILI. And the goal is to empower young people like you with the skills and the resources and the networks that you need to turn your ideas into action. So all these efforts reflect our belief in you, in your ability to keep moving Vietnam forward. There's some incredible young people who are here who are great examples of the incredible talent and drive of young people in Vietnam today.
Through a variety of programs and engagements, including U.S. educational and cultural exchanges, regional exchanges, and seed funding, it seeks to build leadership capabilities of youth in the region, strengthen ties between the U.S. and Southeast Asia, and nurture an ASEAN community. After the speech, President Obama held a question-and-answer session with the young students. President Obama ended his Vietnam visit and left the southern metropolis for Japan for a G7 summit on May 25th. Also on May 25th, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee Secretary Dinh La Thang presided over the official launch ceremony of Fulbright University in Vietnam. Following the decision, the university will begin preparations to build a flagship campus in Saigon High-Tech Park in District 9 and should be in a position to welcome its first graduate students later this year. Secretary Tang said that the university will contribute meaningfully towards the emergence of Ho Chi Minh City as a hub of innovation for the region and the world. He pledged most favorable conditions to the university to uphold U.S. educational achievements, contributing to the development of the two countries. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry expressed his hope that the university will become a leading educational institution in the time ahead.
The 48th session of the 13th National Assembly Standing Committee took place in Hanoi on May 25th. More details in the following report.
The National Target Program on New Style Rural Area Building and Science Technology Development Policies were the first to come under discussion. The National Target Program, carried out since 2010, has given a facelift to rural areas with upgraded transport systems and social infrastructure, as well as the improved material and spiritual life of local residents. The government and relevant ministries reported on the program implementation to a National Assembly delegation, which has also supervised the work in 6 out of the 28 provinces inspected. Looking into a report on the outcomes of the supervision, many participants said it is necessary to press on with communications to raise local officials and residents' awareness of the program. The Standing Committee also mulled over other contents in the report, including science technology's role in promoting labor productivity and growth quality, improving manpower quality, and the technology market. On the afternoon of May 25th, the committee scrutinized a draft resolution on the standards and classification of administrative units and another stipulating the classification of cities.
Chairman of the Fatherland Fund Central Committee Nguyễn Thiện Nhân held discussions with UN Resident Coordinator in Vietnam, Pratibha Mehta, on the country's implementation of Sustainable Development Goals.
Chairman Nhân said Vietnam always attaches importance to cooperative ties with the UN and thanked the agency for its assistance to Vietnam in socio-economic development. He said Vietnam has been praised by the international community for the implementation of the Millennium Development Goals, and these achievements will lay a firm foundation for the country to fulfill sustainable development goals. He mentioned 3 factors helping the country successfully realize the goals, namely the government's determination, the entire people's participation, and international support. Pratibha Mehta said the Fatherland Front plays important role in calling for the people's participation, helping raise public awareness of sustainable development goals and encouraging the people's supervision to ensure the sustainable development goals can benefit the society.
The ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting took place in the Laos capital of Vientiane on May 25th. Vietnamese Defense Minister General Ngô Xuân Lịch led a delegation to the event.
This year's theme of promoting defense cooperation for a dynamic ASEAN community conformed with the goal of boosting the group's commitments, strength, and unity. It aimed to intensify defense and security cooperation within the meeting framework in order to counter non-traditional security challenges in the region and the world. The meeting concluded with defense chiefs signing a joint declaration reaffirming the significance of maintaining peace, stability, and maritime and aviation freedom in the East Sea. The document highlighted the commitment of all sides in fully and effectively implement the Declaration of Parties in the East Sea, ASEAN's 6-point principle in the East Sea, and the joint statement at the 15th ASEAN-China Summit, while emphasizing the need to finalize a code of conduct in the East Sea.
Vietnam and the United States have set up a new partnership to combat wildlife trafficking on the occasion of the Vietnam visit by President Barack Obama.
Under the partnership, Vietnam and the U.S. are committed to strengthening their respective and collective efforts to combat wildlife trafficking and to improving collaboration to reduce consumer demand for and consumption of illegal wildlife and wildlife products, and strengthening wildlife law enforcement and prosecution. The two countries will take a comprehensive, whole-of-government approach to addressing the issue of wildlife trafficking and collaborate with the private sector, non-governmental organizations, academia, the scientific community, and other local and international partners. Vietnam and the U.S. will also cooperate actively through joint training, technical exchanges, information sharing, and public education and demand reduction campaigns. A new 5-year bilateral program to combat wildlife trafficking through the U.S. Agency for International Development and the Vietnam Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will be launched to further the implementation of activities under the new partnership.
The 7th international meeting of senior security officials took place in the Czech Republic, Russia, on May 24th and 25th. Minister of Public Security To Lâm led a Vietnamese delegation to the event.
Participants from over 70 countries around the world discussed measures to ensure security, peace and stability in regions. The discussions focus on counteracting extremism and terrorism, security in the context of increased migration, and building an international information security system. Secretary of the Russian Federation Security Council Nikolai Patrushev stressed the importance of setting up a large-scale anti-terrorism front based on international law and coordinated by the United Nations. Minister of Public Security To Lâm presented his report on preventing illegal immigration. He said Vietnam once struggled with illegal immigration, but the country handled this issue effectively and received international recognition. The minister shared with the international community the causes of illegal immigration and ways to prevent it. On the sidelines of the event, Lâm also had bilateral meetings with several security leaders to discuss regional and global security.
Relic designs and objects unearthed between 2008 to 2009 during the construction of the new National Assembly House have been on display at an exhibition at the building's 2 basements. Bình Minh Thăng Long or Thăng Long Sunrise is the name of a picture made from thousands of pieces of tiles and bricks excavated during the construction of the new Parliament House. Covering an area of 1,700 square meters, the display at the first basement introduces objects dating from the 11th to the 18th centuries throughout the Lý, Trần and Lê dynasties. Meanwhile, nearly 2,000 square meters of the second basement are used for archaeological discoveries dating back to the 7th, 9th and 10th centuries during the Đinh and Lê dynasties.
Thì tất cả đường nét mà chúng tôi trình bày đây, nó không phải bỗng nhiên nó có được.
We've done thorough research to replicate the walls, decorations and roofs through different periods of time to display at this exhibition.
Chúng tôi nghiên cứu để vẽ lại và tạo dựng nó ở trên những cơ sở khoa học.
With the support of lighting effects and modern graphic arts, the exhibition brings a new look to the Parliament building, which is an important section of the central sector of the Imperial Citadel of Thăng Long.
Để làm được dự án này, chúng tôi đã đi rất nhiều nước.
We visited many countries to learn their techniques. Applying advanced techniques to tell the country's history is one of the highlights of the exhibition.
Các bạn thấy thì tôi áp dụng rất nhiều công nghệ ở nhiều nước tân tiến khác nhau.
Over 400 Asian objects and nearly 10 relic sites on display tell the history of the 1,000-year-old Thăng Long Imperial Citadel and offer visitors a different way to study the country's history and culture. And that has come to an end of our program. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time.